Yeah.
All right, Coach, it's 4:01, man. I'm not gonna keep you too long. Seems like there's only three of us as guys kind of scramble in. If you wanna talk to us, about it, just so you know, this is being recorded right now. It'll be posted on the Rising Coaching site
Okay.
as well for others to see. And I don't want to keep your time too long. So
All good. How's it going, Justin? And BRB, how's everything going? Can we all chime in? You got your mic on mute. Justin, can you chime in? You see at the bottom? Can you all hear me? Is what I'm getting.
How's it going, Coach? I was just texting you last week. Good to see you.
Yeah, how you doing, man? How's everything?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Coach, we can't hear you right. We can't hear you right now, Coach West. Can you hear us?
Justin, can you hear us?
Okay, we can't hear you now.
Okay, good. Well, it's very much an honor to be here and to be asked to do this. This is my thing. For asking and the right coaches for
Coach, it's real choppy. Coach, it's real choppy right now.
Even helped me along the way over years.
It's real choppy on your end.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe
there you go. You're back on now.
Back on now. It might be the connection. We've had some problems with the internet, so they're working on it during along the road here or something. So we've had some weather. So can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, loud and clear.
Okay. I was just saying thank you for having me on. You know, this is quite an honor to share my experiences and my journey. My journey is very unique and very different, as I didn't get into coaching until later in life. I was 35 when I got into coaching. So I'm going to go through that. You guys can stop me along the way and ask questions, make it interactive. And I just hear, you know, I'm no different than anybody else. I've just been very fortunate to have great people help me along the way. And I've had a great work ethic from my parents to tell me to work hard and do right and then get with good people. So I think that is the key in our business. If you do that and you just
You out again, Coach.
Vanderbilt, there was a young man named DJ Harvey in the portal. So I recruited DJ when I was at UCLA. DJ went to DeMatha High School in Maryland. And we were real close. We finished second with him at UCLA. We had him on a visit, and he goes to Notre Dame, where Mike Bray is, you know, he's a DeMatha guy. So we went with them. But anyway, he's in the portal. So I get to Vanderbilt, and we jump on him right away. We get him on a visit, and I know the family real well. I stayed in touch with him over the course of his time at Notre Dame. And then, so he comes, me and his dad, you know, it's like old times, you know, we get to talking. The next morning, I go and pick him up to go to breakfast. So I've only been in Nashville a couple of weeks, so I don't really know where anything's at. So I Google Pancake Pantry. I don't know if you've ever been to Pancake Pantry in Nashville, but it's a world famous place for great breakfasts. So I'm driving, and we're talking, and all of a sudden we come up on we're going down a road I ain't never been down. And we come up on these buildings, they look like university buildings. So Darren, his dad's a very bright guy, he said, "Coach, what's those buildings up there?" So I kind of, you know, felt that Vanderbilt was over to the right. So I'm assuming that those buildings were Vanderbilt buildings as well. So I said, oh, those are Vanderbilt buildings. I said, we're very close to the university. So as we get closer, he says, I don't think so. They say Belmont University on them. So I said, well, man, I guess that's what they are. So we have the visit and we get him to commit. And then next week he calls me and he says, what you doing? I said, man, I'm getting those buildings changed to Vanderbilt, taking those signs down and making them Vanderbilt. So that's a little recruiting story there. And but let's get into my journey. I did 20 years in the Air Force. So while I was in the Air Force, I was playing. I didn't go to college because at the time, because I went back then when I was playing high school ball, there was no AAU. So I went to 3 different high schools in 3 different states because my stepfather was in the Army. So I wasn't getting recruited. So right at the end of my senior year, Northwestern State was wanting me to walk on, and that's in Natchitoches, Louisiana. And they wanted me to walk on there, and that's what I wanted to do. So I went to my mom, and we were having dinner.
Coach David, we lost you. Coach, can you hear us?
Coach, maybe you should try turning your audio off. It might help with the lag. Sorry, excuse me, turning your video off. It might help with the lag.
The video off. Where at?
So if you click on the 3 dots at the top right of your screen, so like you can then turn your own video off.
Those 3 dots, customized controls.
So on your Zoom panel at the top, there's the windows of all the other people in the chat.
Yeah.
If you click on yourself, there's
Okay.
3 little dots at the top right there. There's options like stop video, mute my audio, pin video, all that. Stopping your video sometimes makes your audio come through much better because it looks like your internet's having a little bit of a problem right now.
Okay, I'm gonna stop the video.
Are you still there, Coach?
Coach David, can you hear us?
I wonder if he logged out.
No, he's still here.
It's right at a good part too. We were right, just starting to get into that story. Yeah, he got
there you
booted.
go.
He's probably got to
Probably would have come back in. Yep.
Mandel, man. Scott Saver challenged me to send him the inspirational stuff. And everything I'm sending him, he laughs at. So I've been like 2 days just deep diving into things to try and send him something inspirational. And I can't come up with anything good.
I will tell you this. The simpler it is, the more impressed he'll be.
Really?
What he's doing, it's the same thing he did to me. I went on my phone and I was literally finding all those big deep quotes and blah blah blah, and that's exactly
the one-liner.
Yeah, that's exactly what he expect that. Because of how intense it is, people always try to like give him all those great things, and find this. I'm telling you, find the simplest thing, and he'll respond to that. Okay, let's see if Coach is gonna get back on here. There we go. Let's get him in. You muted, Coach.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, sorry about that. Is it good?
We're good.
All right. Long story short on that part, because I know we got some time. We got to get going here. So anyway, I joined the military, and play at the base level ball. I play intramural ball, and after a while, I got too old to play, so I started refereeing. I was refereeing, making money. I was the president of a whole association, and wanted to start being a college ref when I got back to the States. So I get stationed at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, in Hampton, Virginia, and I walk into my supervisor's office, and his name was Carl Harris, and he tells me my responsibilities, and all of a sudden, afterwards, he had a coaching plaque on the wall. So I said, man, you coach? You coach? He said, yeah, I coach for Boo Williams AAU program, one of the best AAU programs in the country. And I need an assistant coach. He said, do you coach? I said, well, I coach my 5-year-old in a YMCA league, and I got that same plaque. He said, well, why don't you come on down, and if you like it, man, you can be my assistant coach. Well, I didn't know what Boo Williams was. I didn't know what AAU was. I was going to be a referee. So I go down there, and he's here. He got the 12-year-olds in practice jerseys. He's got them in all the same sneakers, all the same socks, got a practice plan. It's way more than park and rec. So I become his assistant coach. He's telling me, hey, man, in April, Boo Williams going to have his tournament. Mike Krzyzewski's going to come through, and all the top coaches, John Thompson, back then, Dean Smith, it was 1997. He said they're going to have it at Highland Hall and Hampton University. So I said, man, that ain't going to happen, ain't it? I didn't believe him. So anyway, it came, and I'm there, and and he's right, man. John Thompson comes walking in. Dean Smith was walking in. Everybody was there. George Raveling was with Nike at the time. And back then, they didn't close everybody off. The coaches on one side and the parents on the other side and the fans on the other side. So I just sat there the whole day and into the evening. And I just had a dream. I said, man, I can do that. And that's what I want to do. So I said, I'm going to be a Division I coach. And then about 5 minutes later, I said, well, if I'm going to be a Division I coach, I might as well be a Division I head coach. And that's where the dream started. So after that, man, when the ball bounced, I was there. And I had a great year with them the first year. Then my supervisor, Carl Harris, who's actually an AAU coach in Shreveport, Louisiana now. He runs the Louisiana Round Ballers. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's the one that actually got me into coaching. And from there, I take over the program because he got assignment to Korea, have a good year. Boo Williams comes around. He starts watching me coach. He takes a liking to me for whatever reason. And then the following year, I got promoted, and I got assignment to Phoenix, Arizona. And so I was crushed because I wanted to be there with Boo. I want to retire. I'm from Maryland. That's where I was going to retire at in the Air Force, and just learn from Boo and be a part of his program. So after I got the assignment, I went into Boo's office and I said, hey, I really want to be a Division I coach. Do you think I have it in me? He said, Coach, you know how many people come in my office and ask that question? And I said, yeah, but I'm different. And he said, yep, you are different. And he said, I think you're going to be a great coach, great assistant coach and a Division I coach. He says, anything I can do to help you, I will. I said, well, I got an assignment to Phoenix. He said, I'll call.
Coach David, you went out again.
In the Hall of Fame. He's had a heck of a career. Allen Iverson, Alonzo Mourning, Joe Smith, J.R. Reed. You can go down the list of all the guys he's coached. And that gave me the motivation because I was 35 years old. And when I used to go tell people after that I'm going to be a Division I coach, they all laughed at me because they said, hey, you didn't even play Division I. How you going to do that? And and you're in the military. So I get to Phoenix, coach a year with the Stars, and then the next year I wanted to be on the west side. I don't know if you've been to Phoenix, but Phoenix is huge. I was driving the east side, coaching the AAU program, or AAU team, and then I got back over to the west side, and I asked Art if I could start a program over there. And he said, sure. So I needed a gym. So I contacted this guy named Mike Ellsworth, who runs Trevor Brown High School. He's the basketball coach there. He don't run the high school. He's the basketball coach. And he said, so he came, watched me put on 16s all the way down to 12-year-olds. And at the end of the day, he asked me if I wanted to be his assistant coach at the freshman level. And I was still in the Air Force. So I told him no because, you know, I was in high school. And obviously that was a big mistake. So I turned it down. He called me back 3 times asking me. So on the 3rd time, I said, can you let me use the gym, have the keys to the gym? And he said, yeah, you can have the keys to the gym. So that I wanted to use that for my AAU program. So I became assistant coach. We were really good. We had 3 Division I players, Clay Okina, who went to Navy, Hall of Famer at Navy's in the Hall of Fame, and Ty Morrison and Darren Jordan. We were ranked 40th in the country and had a good run there, and I was assistant coach, and that's how I got to know a lot of people through that high school experience. And I also got to learn the ins and outs of a high school. It was a public school, about 2,000 people, and I got to learn how the administration works. And I wanted to learn anything about basketball that I could. And then I was coaching a freshman game, and a guy named Anthony Ray and Jeff Meadows went to the game and saw me coach. And they asked me to coach their 17 AAU program, which was the Arizona Slam at the time. And I didn't know who they were. So I just said, he said, why don't you come to the tryouts? So I went over there, and I wanted to watch. They had 80 kids in the gym, and they put them all underneath the basket. And I said, I just want to watch and see how you do it. And then they started talking about where they're going to go and what tournaments you're going to be in. And then they said, let's introduce your next coach. And they introduced me. So I said, man, I wasn't ready to do the tryout at 80 kids. So a friend of mine was there at the time, and he helped me get through that. So I became the 17U coach, which was kind of like a dream because I was, you know, following in Boo Williams' footsteps. The problem was we wasn't part of a shoe company, and we didn't have any money. So the first year, we get through that. The second year, we get with the Pump Brothers out in California, and they sponsored us. We became Arizona Pump and Run. That didn't go well. And then we asked Ato Unaemo, who runs the Compton Magic, and we asked for his sponsorship, and we came in under the Compton Magic, and we became the Arizona Magic. So all during that time, I was learning how to coach 17-year-old kids, how to, because I wanted to be a college coach. When we played other AAU teams, I was becoming friends with the other AAU teams, coaches, and whoever was around basketball, I was trying to get to know. So then, you know, we get a couple very good players. We got Jared Bayless and Louis Amundsen. Both of them played 10 years in the NBA. And that's when the college coaches started calling. And Lute Olson was one of them. Obviously, Jared Bayless went on to play at Arizona, and he just finished a 10-year career in the NBA. And then Louis Amundsen went on to play for UNLV and had a great career in the NBA. So with that, I became really good friends with Lute Olson. Rob Evans was at Arizona State at the time. I became good friends with him. And then, you know, they helped me. I retired from the Air Force. Our AAU program was really good. We played in a big-time tournament, which was the best tournament. That was before the shoe company, the EYBL and the Gauntlet and all of that. and we played in the EYB, the big time tournament, and we finished 8th out of 336 of the best teams in the country, and we lost in double overtime to go to Final Four. I thought we were going to win it all. And with that, obviously college coaches are calling. So after that tournament, I retired. I became a head high school coach at South Mountain High School. We took over a program that was 4-17, and 2 years later, we win a state title and go 29-4. And I think a big reason with that, because of that, is I watched how things were done at Trevor Brown High School as assistant coach. And I just knew how to change a program around and with the winning culture. And because I was observant and I used my military background to help along the way, as well as being structured, being disciplined, and holding kids accountable and doing it in a loving way. So after that, I coached a year with the Compton. The second year I coached high school at South Mountain when we won the state title, I stopped coaching with Arizona Magic, and I coached the Compton Magic, and Ato would fly me out. And I became really good friends with Ato. Really good friends. And he's helped me throughout my years I've had. Look, the key to all of this, I think, in progression and going and moving up this is to be around great people. Now, Boo Williams helped me. He's a Hall of Famer. Ato Unaema could go in the Hall of Fame as well, one of the best AAU organizers there ever was. He still has arguably the best AAU program in the country right now with the Compton Magic, and he and him are very, very close. So, and then Lute Olson, who's a legendary Hall of Fame coach, took a liking to me. So anyway, and also, just being around good people in the organizations, like in the military. I had great supervisors along the way, and they helped me to this day. They still call me, and I still call them and lean on them. And they've helped me so much going through this business. Business is a tough business. It's a really tough business. I always ask people, you sure you want to do it? Because I didn't have any gray hairs before I got to the college level, and my head's full of them right now. So just because you guys don't, most of the people don't imagine what I've seen and went through to get to this level. So, but anyway, so going back to that, around after we won the state title, September comes around, and I get a phone call from Jerome Jenkins at Sacramento State, and he offers me a job after Lute Olson calls for me, and Ato Unaema calls me, and then a friend of mine, Jeff Tyler, who knew Jerome Jenkins, called on my behalf, and I reached my dream of being an assistant coach. What the problem is I had to take a $20,000 pay cut, and I slept on the floor in the locker room in Sacramento State. Now, I don't know if anybody's been to Sac State, but Google that. They got the worst gym in all of college basketball. They might even have the worst gym in all of high school basketball. It's that bad. So, but I reached my dream. I had gotten a divorce while I was coaching in high school. I got full custody of my children. And then I remarried 2 days before going to Sac State to my wife, and without her, I would have never made it. She took care of my kids when I went to Sac State, and she allowed me to chase my dream. And so I'm very grateful for her and her family, and her side of the family. So anyways, we spent a year at Sac State, and I learned how to do more with less. It's the bottom of the barrel of Division I. It's not even close. But I learned so much. I learned how the college life is. I learned from the kids. I learned, what a day in life of a student athlete is. He let me do everything. I was the recruiting coordinator. I put books together. I remember one time I said, April was coming, and I got all the books together. Back then we had the MapQuest. I don't know if you guys know about MapQuest, but we didn't have GPS. We had MapQuest. So if you couldn't find the place, you had to go to the convenience store, and that's where it was at. So or hope you knew somebody in that area. So anyway, I got all that together and I presented to Jerome Jenkins, and Jerome Jenkins said, wait a minute, Grace, we're not going out in April. We're not getting anybody in April anyway. We got to wait till the scraps are left over at the end of in July to see who's left. No kids committing to Sac State in April. So I said, well, man, I'm going to go out on my own dime. So I went out by myself and because Sac State wasn't paying for it. And that was just the determination to get out there and see the kids and recruit. And, you know, then I go to the Final Four. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still up. I'm so excited to be a Division I assistant coach. I'm talking to anybody listen to me. 3 o'clock in the morning at the Final Four. I had my polo on, Sac State polo on. I was just excited, man. And this guy walks up to me and says, hey, you work at Sac State, right? I said, yeah. He said, I got this kid named Vinny McGee. He goes to McClymonds High School in Oakland. He said, I think you can get him. I'm going to give you his number. I want you to call his mom, call his family. I want you to go to McClymonds, talk to the high school coach, and I think you can get him. So I did just that. And we get him on official visit. We don't take him to the gym. We take him everywhere but the gym. At the end of the day, he said, Coach Grace, I like to go by and see the gym. I said, man, we don't have time. Next time you come, you get to your gym. It's 10 feet, man. Rooms are 10 feet. Everybody goes to the game. You'll love it. So we signed him, and he becomes the freshman of the Big Sky. So my first recruitment ever was the freshman in the whole league. Now, I don't get to coach him because a couple, right after we signed him, I got an offer to go to University of San Francisco. And a lot of people, you know, think that, oh, Coach Grace is with the Compton Magic, or he gets all his kids from the Compton Magic. That kid played for the Oakland Soldiers. So I gotten 4 or 5 kids from the Oakland Soldiers. So it's because of the relationships that I've built. And just that case was just by happenstance. I was up at 4 in the morning. So grinding does help. It does pay off. So the next year I get a call, well, a couple weeks after we signed him, I get a call from San Francisco, Jesse Evans, and I go to University of San Francisco. I'm making $50,000 there. The problem is I'm living in San Francisco, so they're still taking all my money. So my wife gets a job with the university as well, so we get enough to make ends meet. And things are going great. I knew Jesse. Jesse used to be the assistant coach at Arizona. He recruited one of my players, and things are going great there. He's letting me. I'm doing all the scouts. The other 2 guys just wasn't capable of doing it on staff, but they're good guys. They just didn't want to do it. And I was recruiting. I got Oscar Belfield to come on campus. He goes and has a great career at UNLV. And then the day after Christmas, I get a phone call, and they put my head coach on leave, and they told him to tell everybody he was sick, which wasn't true. And that's when I learned how administrations can derail careers. And not only did they put Jesse on paid leave, and Jesse ended up suing them and winning, but they put me on leave too, but they paid me because I was so close to Jesse. And so I didn't even go to work the day after that, about 2 weeks after that, and they paid me the rest of the way. So I go back to Phoenix, Arizona, because I don't have a job, and become the high school coach of the school that I beat in the state title. And problem was they couldn't pay me. And so on my last paycheck from San Francisco, I get a call from Craig Robinson, the new head coach at Oregon State, who's Michelle Obama's brother. And he wants to interview me to be the director of basketball ops. So he flies down to Phoenix. We interview at the airport for 2 hours. He hires me and flies back. I thought the world of that. So I go to drive up to Oregon State, and Craig had already had his staff except for one guy who he was going to hire. His name is Robert Icart. I don't know if you guys know him. He runs an AU program called BTI out of California. And he was already hired, but he had a couple kids on his team that Craig wanted. So he kept he kept coaching the AAU team to keep working them to get them to come up to Corvallis, to Oregon State. And he was going to do that all the way through July and then come up afterwards. Well, me being already eligible to go on the road and taking the test, being in San Francisco, I asked him to go on the road. So he said, sure. So Craig said, sure. So I go on the road, and before the July period's over, I got we got a kid named Roberto Nelson, two-time Pac-10 scoring champion to commit, and Joe Burton, who set 4 or 5 records at Oregon State and had a great, tremendous career. So after that, Robert Icart decides not to come, and Craig moved me up to Oregon State. So see how this stuff works? 2 months before that, I'm out of a job coaching high school in Phoenix, Arizona, not wondering where I'm going to eat because, you know, being a high school coach, they don't pay you till you start working in the fall. So now I'm assistant coach in the Pac-10, and I'm also with Barack Obama's brother-in-law, and he just became president. So all that's going on. It's crazy. We go to the White House. It's crazy. We hang out with Barack. We hang out with Michelle, and it's a whirlwind. And then I have a great 5-year career there. So doing all of that, the point I'm getting at, I'm learning that, hey, you got to be very, very appreciative when you're at these spots because they can turn just like that. And we had a great 5-year run. Won 78 games, won the CBI tournament, and I was able to recruit another kid named Jared Cunningham, was another Open Soldier kid that went 24th in the first round draft, and then Roberto Nelson was a 2-time Pac-12 champion. Then I recruited another kid his name was Eric Moreland, who just won a world championship with the Toronto Raptors. We got him out of Houston, Texas, and I started getting a reputation of being a very good recruiter. So from there on, I became good friends with a guy named Craig Neal, who was assistant coach at New Mexico, and his son, I recruited him. But I knew I wasn't going to get his son because Noodles was assistant coach. He took him to wherever he was at. But I wanted to build a relationship with Noodles, just in case, you know, another job come open. And also I'm in the business of relationships. So when Craig, the year before I leave Oregon State, Craig was interviewed at Colorado State. And he says, Grace, if I get it, I want you to come with me. Will you come with me? I said, yeah, just make me associate head coach and I'll come with you. So he's a finalist, but he doesn't get it. The next year, Steve Alford, who we worked for in New Mexico, gets UCLA. And I already built a relationship with Craig, but not with Steve. Steve's kind of standoffish, if you know Steve. He's not really talking to too many people. So from there, Noodle says, hey, I'm going to get New Mexico. You want to come with me? I said, yeah, I'm going to come with you. So that takes a while. He gets it. And I'm thinking I'm going to go with him. He says, let's meet at the Final Four. So I fly down to Final Four, I land, and my phone is going crazy. I got like 15 texts. Hey, Steve Alford at UCLA is interested in you. I said, man, I don't even know Steve. And he says, nah, man, he's going to call you. He's going to call you. And another learning point to what I'm saying here is I had so many friends that I've built, the relationships that I built, that Steve reached out to and asked about me, and they said great things about me. And I think that's so important in your guys' climb in this business is relationships, getting to know people that can't help you and being nice to them. Be nice to the janitor. I mean, be nice to everybody, man, and do it wholeheartedly. Care about other people. Because on that flight that Steve went out to the Final Four with was a great friend of mine named Chad Groff, who sat right next to him. And the whole time while he was on that plane, told him he better hire me. And I didn't even know that. I didn't. There's another guy named Craig Snow who was on the staff in New Mexico. Told Steve Alford to hire me. Then he calls Ato Emma and asked about me. And the list goes on and on and on. So 8 o'clock that night, he gives me a call, and Steve says, "Hey, I'd like to interview you tonight. I hear you're in the same hotel." What a coincidence! In the same hotel, and let's interview an hour later. And the reason why I tell this story is it's a thing to it that helped me get the job. So I'm excited, man. Ain't nobody in my life, could have ever told me that I was going to get an interview at UCLA when it wasn't that long ago. I was putting gas on airplanes in the Air Force in Saudi Arabia during the war. So 15 minutes after he calls me, Noodles calls me and says, "Grace, you going to interview it at UCLA?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, you can't interview in New Mexico." So I started laughing. He said, "I'm going to pay you more." I said, "Yeah, but that's UCLA. I'm on an interview there." So I go in the interview. We're interviewing. It's a 2-hour interview. Halfway through the interview, Steve's daughter comes walking in the door, and she's a sophomore in high school. So I stand up where I was at, and I go over and I shake her hand. And I said, "Hey, I'm Coach Grace. Your dad's interviewing me to be on his staff." And she thought the world of that. So then I go back at the end of the conversation, at the end of the interview. He says, "What do you got? You got any questions?" I said, "Yeah, when are you going to interview? When are you going to make the decision?" He said, "Well, what do you got going on?" I said, "Well, New Mexico's wanting to interview me." He starts laughing because him and Noodles are best friends. Then I said, "What else you got?" I said, "Grand Canyon's going to interview me. They're interested in me, and that's, my wife's from Phoenix, so that would have been close to home. And Dan Marley just got the job." And so he said, "Is that D1? He's just joking." So I started laughing, and then he said, "Anybody else?" I said, "Yeah, USC. They want to interview me Monday." And that's when he got serious, because USC is the rival. And I knew my assistant coach and my head coach in high school became the assistant coach at Johns Hopkins and coached Andy Enfield. I grew up in Maryland. So that's how I got the interview with Andy Enfield. So anyway, he says, "I'll call you the next day by noon," because I had an interview at noon for Grand Canyon. And he said, "If you don't hear from me, just go ahead to that, and I'll go in another direction." So it got to be like 11:50. I ain't hear from him. So 11:55, he calls me. He says, "Hey man, I was late, and my son had a 3-point shooting contest." He said, "Go ahead and go to that interview, but I want Craig Robinson's number." So I said, "All right." So it gave me a little relief knowing that he wanted Craig Robinson's number. So at least I was still in the running to get UCLA. So I go to the interview with Dan Marley in a suit at the Final Four at the main hotel. So everybody knew I was going there to interview. So we interviewed for about an hour, and Dan Marley, he was just doing it out of courtesy, in my opinion. We talked about everything more than just basketball. So afterwards, I'm leaving. I said, I ain't getting that job. So I'm walking back, and all of a sudden, I see Craig Robinson, my boss, and he says, "Grace, what are you doing? Where are you interviewing at? You're in a suit." So I told him where all the spots I was going to interview. And I said, "Steve Alford's going to give you a call, maybe USC, maybe Dan Marley." So he said, "Okay." So he's getting swarmed at the Final Four. That's during Barack Obama years. So I started to walk back, and I said, "Nah, man, I need to stay in contact with Craig, because I don't know if he's going to call or not." So I just stayed in the lobby. Buzz Williams comes up to me and says, "Grace, you're interviewing. Where you going?" Making fun of me, saying, and stuff like that, just messing around. So 2 hours later, Craig comes back and says, "Hey, is this the number?" Because Steve called, and then he called him back, and then I went back and changed, and then Steve said, he called me and said, "Let's go to dinner." So I go to dinner, and he has his agent there. He has Eddie Schilling, who's now at Grand Canyon, who's on staff with him, with us, and he had his family, and he's not really talking to me. So I'm like, man, am I gonna get the job or what? And then after he finished eating, he says, "Hey, Grace, you know, in my 24 years of coaching, I've never hired somebody I didn't know." And I said, "Yeah, you said that in an interview." I said, "But Craig Robinson and Jerome Jenkins didn't know me either." He said, "Yeah, I know. They told me that." He said, "And that's why I'm going to hire you." He said, "But the most important reason why I'm going to hire you is, you see that young lady at the end of the table? You stood up and said hi to her. No one ever done that. And she told me I better hire you if things are going to be bad at the house." So that's how I got UCLA. That's how I got it. So after that, man, I got the polo, and I'm walking around the Final Four, and all of a sudden I get a call from Dan Marley, and Dan says, "Hey, Grace, man, the interview went really well, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to keep you at Grand Canyon. I'm going in another direction." I said, "Don't worry about it. I'm going to UCLA." And you should have heard the silence on the other end of the phone. And I always remembered that. Always remember that. So that's how I got to UCLA. But again, the learning point there is the relationships helped me get there. I didn't do it on my own. Just worked hard, kept my nose to the ground, and tried to do the best I can and get to know people and generally care about them. I think that's very, very important. That's how I got to UCLA. Made a great run there, recruited Lonzo Ball, TJ Leaf. I mean, I got a ton of stories about Lonzo Ball. And you guys it's interactive, so you guys can chime in anytime and ask questions.
Here's a question for you.
That's how I got to UCLA. Great. Yes.
Here's a question for you, Coach. One thing that you mentioned, and I think it's worth asking. You mentioned how administration derailing the plan, and they put the head coach on leave. Talk a little bit more about what does that do to an assistant when the head coach get put on leave and you are basically up in the air, not knowing what to do. Talk a little bit more about what that emotionally do to a coach.
It really crushed me because it happened the day after. It's a great question, by the way. It happened the day after Christmas, and now I'm on leave. I can't get another job. I'm on a 1-year contract, and I can't get another job because everybody's, they're still playing. They're all employed. There's no openings. So, and then I got to tell my family that, hey, we're not going to be here next year, and I don't know where we're going to be. That was really hard. That was really, really hard for me. And it went down to my last check. And my last check before I got on in at Oregon State. So, but one thing that I have great faith, and all the jobs that I've taken, I've done it with faith. And when we got let go last year at Cal. I have great faith that I'm going to land on my feet and go there. But it's not easy. This business is not easy. It's not easy at all because you can lose your job because of somebody else. You know what I mean? You could be collateral damage. And I've been collateral damage a lot. And that's why I want to be a head coach. People say, "Well, Grace, why you want to be a head coach?" Because I want to be the ones calling the timeout. I want to be the one that if we lose, it's on my shoulders. You know what I mean? I want to be the one that if we do something the wrong way or don't do it the right way and getting the kid, not doing things the wrong way, but if we work hard and we don't get a kid, I want that to be on me. You know what I mean? Because you can get in this business with the help of others.
Coach, You just went silent.
Eddie Sutton in. Eddie Sutton came in to get his 800 win. That's the only reason why they did it. So they didn't care about me, or they didn't care about Jesse Evans. They didn't care about no one. The 80 eventually got fired. But collateral damage happens all the time in this business. I see it all the time. So, and when I was going to talk to you at the end is really important, if you can, is to get with the right people, get with the right head coach, get with the right organization. It can be a really nasty experience if you don't do that. And I've had to live through it through my 14 years as assistant coach. And even at the high school level, you know, I've seen what a bad administration can do. So administrations can get you out of there. Bad head coach can get you out of there. Bad assistant coaches. So it's very important to pick and choose if you can. Great question. Any other questions?
Yeah, Coach, I got a question. So you talk about basically a lot of people have been giving you different chances through developing great quality relationships. Do you have any tips on exactly how to develop those great quality relationships, especially with great people? Because I'm feeling like it's kind of hard to develop relationships with people that are at least not reciprocating the effort, at least when I try and reach out to them.
Where are you at right now? Where are you coaching at?
At Santa Monica College.
Yeah. In a great area.
Yep.
I would go and see if I can build a relationship with Dinos Dragonis and work at his Pangos camp. I worked at his first Pangos camp. You know who Dinos is?
I do.
Yeah. Go over there and ask him if you can work it for free. I didn't get paid either. I slept in my car one night. You know what I mean?
Right.
So get with Ato. You'd be surprised how many times they talk to head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to Dinos almost every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're at a junior college, it don't matter. When I was at UCLA, I called them all the time. You know, get with Ryan Silver. Ryan Silver's doing great things.
Mm-hmm.
Doing really good. Go over there and spend a little time with the Pump Brothers. Now,
Am I the only one that it just went muted? Is that just for me or everybody else?
No, Coach, you went silent there.
you might want to work something. You know what I mean? You
Hey,
know?
Coach, can you repeat what you were saying after the Pump Brothers? Because you kind of went silent there.
Okay, with the Pump Brothers, you know, maybe volunteer to work their gala. Maybe, you know, or their when I say maybe not the gala, but maybe work their golfing out, you know, and get to know them. Jamie Foxx, I used to let Jamie Foxx in UCLA in the evenings to play basketball in Pauley. I used to just go let him in. I became good friends with Jamie Foxx. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. You'd be amazed. You know, and the Pump Brothers knows those people. Ryan Silver knows them. You know, you got to recruit those kids anyway. You know, they're kids. So from there, you know, maybe go over to Mick Cronin and get to know, or UCLA and get to know Rod Palmer and Darren Savino and those guys, or even better yet, go see Andy Enfield. He's more able to talk to, you know, or you know, call some of those other coaches, you know, in your area. And if they don't give you much thought or nothing, don't worry about it. You only need one yes. You know what I mean? You need.
Right.
A lot of people done told me no. One time when I got the job at UCLA, Dana Pump calls me and says, "Hey, Ato, how you doing?" I said, "Ato, my name ain't Ato." "Yeah, but you're a Compton Magic guy." I said, "Dana, you're forgetting I coached the Arizona Pump and Run before I was the Arizona Magic. I was one of you guys before that." He didn't even realize that. Then all of a sudden, he'd invite me over to their office in the Valley. So I would go over there and hang out with him 10, 15 minutes. You know, obviously I was at UCLA then, so that's a little different. So I know what you're saying. But
Right.
even when I was a high school coach, I would go over to Rob Evans at Arizona State, and I became really good friends with Rob. I'm still good. Rob called me 2 days ago, and then I would get with Lute Olson. I worked Lute.
Come on.
Now I can't get enough to go to University of Arizona.
Okay.
So it's a lot of things. You just got to get out there and network. I know it ain't easy for everybody. The Pump Brothers have a gala, and then the night before they have a mixer. I'd ask to go to that. With you being in Santa Monica, they'll probably do it because you know what they're going to think? Maybe I might need that gym down the road, Santa Monica. That's how they think. I might need something in Santa Monica. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah.
might let you go to the mixer. They probably won't let you go to the gala till you get to know them. But I wasn't invited to the gala for years. Now I get invited to the gala. So and with that, you got all kinds of people. Jim Brown's there. I mean, everybody's there, and coaches. You know, you never know. You know, in LA, when I was in LA, I tried to get to know every coach in the city. That's a lot of damn coaches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Coach,
You know,
I got another question for you about something that you brought up earlier. I heard I did a chalk talk with Coach Stan at LMU when he was at Marquette, and he was talking about when he got the job at Bemidji State, that he was the head coach, the manager. He watched the uniform, cleaned the floors, and you kind of echoed the same thing. How much do you feel that prepared you to really appreciate everything that came after from that experience?
It's everything, you know, because if I was just giving this without sleeping in the car for the Pangos event, without sleeping in the locker room at Sac State, taking a $20,000 pay cut, barely making it, San Francisco barely making it, being let go, still overcoming, I wouldn't appreciate it. You know, I think this is God's way of saying, hey, I put that dream in your head, but you're gonna earn that because you're gonna appreciate it. And it's an up and down journey in our business. Some people had a silver spoon, some people don't. You know, some people like Steve Alford never was assistant coach, but he was a hell of a basketball player. You know, Jerry Stackhouse gets Vanderbilt only 2 years as a head coach in the G League. You know, some people get it that way, but he was a 18-year pro. So some people get it that way, but I like the Buzz Williams of the world. I like the grinders. I like guys that do it the old-fashioned way and come up through, you know, coaching 12-year-olds for Boo Williams. I like that. I like those type of guys.
All right, we have about 5 minutes left. You guys, any questions? Anything else you guys want to ask?
I have a question.
Yes.
Someone who's looking to get into the kind of the AAU world now, it's kind of very exclusive. How do you suggest navigating that and trying to get on, those big AAU teams, the Compton Magic or someone in my local area?
Where are you at, John?
I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
In Philly, team final, right?
Yeah, team final. Yep.
Yeah, team final would be a good one. I would try to find some people that know Rob.
Yeah, I've actually met Rob.
Rob's a great guy.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Get with Rob and ask Rob what he needs.
Yep.
Hey, you want me to coach the 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds? I don't know how far Rob goes down. Littell over there who runs the magazine, get to know him. He talks to us all the time. You know Littell?
No, I don't.
He has a magazine over there. But in the Philly scene, team finals probably the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
We are one down in Delaware. Get to know Coverdale. Coverdale's a good friend of mine. Just call him. Say, use my name. Use my name if you want to. and say, hey man, I want to get into business. What spot do you have for me? Can I be assistant coach? It might be a while because it's all about trust. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Have somebody that might know somebody that knows somebody that knows them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
See, hey, I want to get in that business and get in AAU. It's very important. And I tell people all the time, you know, if I'm not with Boo Williams or Compton Magic, I'm probably not at this level. Ato helped me so much. Boo Williams helped me so much. And guess what? College coaches listen to those guys. You know why? They got players. This business is all about players. You know, players win games. I tell a quick story. You know, last year I'm sitting in the gym and I'm at Cal now. So Sean Miller comes in the gym real quick, and I'll be real quick. We only have 5 minutes. Comes in the gym and he sits beside me. He didn't sit beside me at UCLA because we were going at it and recruiting. But he comes sit beside me, and then he says, "Hey Dave, I was watching some film the other day when you had Lonzo Ball. How many games y'all win when you're at UCLA?" I said, "We won 35 games that year." He said, "Well, we won 29." So I counted 11 pros on that team. He said, "Now look where you're at. How many wins you got at Cal?" I said, "About 7." And he said, "I only got 10 at Arizona because we ain't got no damn players. We run the same plays. They ain't got no players." You know what I mean? So don't ever let anybody tell you it ain't about players. But if you're around great players, it kind of helps you get to where you want to get to.
Yep.
Am I right?
For sure, yeah.
Am I right? You gotta have guy players. Guy players. Everybody can coach. You know what I mean? We ran over 200 plays this year. I
Coach, you were completely silent in case you can't hear us. You went completely silent.
I said you got to be able to, you got to know your X's and O's, and you got to be able to work with kids as well. And you got to care about them. In the recruiting world, if they know you care, they know that you can help them get to where they're going to want to get to, and that's half the battle right there.
All right, we have 1 minute left. Anybody got anything? All right, well, Coach Grace, I greatly appreciate your time today, sir. I'll keep in touch with you. You know that already.
All righty. You guys can call me anytime, man. I really appreciate your time. I'm very thankful.
Hey, would you mind? Sorry to cut you off. Would you mind giving out your contact info by any chance?
Yeah. You can DM me, or you can go to my social media, and I can get it. My number is 310-882-3215, and I'm on social media, so I'm not that hard to find. Coach D Grace, I think, or Coach David Grace on Twitter. Coach David.
Can you repeat that number one more time? Sorry about that.
I just put it in the chat too for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Coach Grace, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate. I didn't really have any questions. I was just really enthralled with your story, but just wanted to say hello. Menelik Fernandez. I'm up here in Canada, but I appreciate your time. Appreciate your story.
Thank you. Where are you coaching at?
I coach at a school called Fleming College, which is about an hour east of Toronto. So I'm a Canadian college head coach.
Oh, that's big time, man. I got a kid named Joel Brown out of there last year. You know Joel?
I know who he is. I don't know him personally, yes.
Yeah. Great young man. Got him to come to Cal.
Yeah, we got some players for sure.
Yeah, Canada is a beautiful country, man. I love Toronto.
I appreciate it. Anytime you're up, if you want to ever come check a game, let me know, please.
I will. I might go up there to spend some time with Norman Powell.
There you go. There you go.
All right, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Have a good rest of your day. Thank you so much again.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. All right, goodbye. Thank you, guys.